Hi, good evening. This is Kartike Bhatia from What the Article. Please press the subscribe button and hit the bell icon next to it to never miss an update. Comment below to let us know how you liked our video. Our guest today is Anupma Sethi. She's the director of Empower Kids. Let's start the podcast with her. Good evening. How are you doing?
Good, Kartike. How are you doing?
I'm doing very well. So, my first question to you is what was the thought behind starting Empower Kids and what are the services that you offer?
Yeah, hi Kartike. To begin with, Empower Kids came into existence because of various reasons. I started
Mhm,
my career as a special educator in the year 1991, and my
mhm,
first project was with National Council of Educational Research and Training.
mhm,
And so worked for a few years in a different kind of school settings
mhm,
and at this is the year 1991 I'm talking about,
mhm,
and learning disabilities and dyslexia was totally unheard of
mhm,
in India at that time.
mhm,
I was introduced to this topic of and the research in this area by one of my professors in National Council of Educational Research and Training. And
mhm,
when I researched about this area, I found that there are not many institutions in
mhm,
India, in Delhi, uh,
mhm,
as such, working and providing quality services.
mhm,
And basic intrinsic feeling came to my mind that there are so many of children with bright intellectual abilities and higher intellectual capacities
mhm,
still struggling with reading and writing,
mhm,
and what is happening to these children in the regular school environments.
mhm,
And or most of the services are available in bits and pieces. Somebody is doing the assessment,
mhm,
or somebody is providing the special ed services in their small settings.
mhm,
So there is no organization or no place where we can provide the holistic services to the
mhm,
children in terms of their identification, evaluation, and providing remedial, educational, and other cognitive skill training programs.
mhm,
So that was the idea, to create a platform where we provide quality services for children in terms of assessments, identifying the root cause of the learning challenges, and then
mhm.
accordingly creating a customized plan of action for these
Okay.
children.
Yeah.
Mhm. And when you talk about the services, what we provide, we
Mhm,
work in the area of cognitive skill trainings, assessments, customized plan for teaching the children, help the
mhm,
children to build their basic learning abilities and skill sets of processing,
mhm,
evaluation, critical thinking, memory, and then along with that, simultaneously providing the educational intervention strategies to bridge the gap between their achievement and their capacities
mhm.
there.
Okay, that sounds really amazing. So, what was the thought behind becoming a special educator and what is your specialty?
Oh, the thought, as I mentioned, that I was
Mhm,
introduced to this concept of learning disabilities by one of my professors
mhm,
and the research coordinator at NCERT, who introduced
mhm,
me to this field of learning disabilities. And
mhm,
we had an amazing library at NCERT
mhm,
where I could go and spend hours and hours together in researching about
mhm,
learning disabilities. And at that time, I was thinking about doing some going for my PhD also.
mhm,
So as I explored this area,
mhm,
this area was quite intriguing because most of the time,
mhm,
like we see that children with bright intellectual capacities struggling in school, and
mhm,
this came across to me that this is an hidden handicap or an invisible
mhm,
challenge for the children, the kids who are appearing to be smart,
mhm,
very expressive, talented, are
mhm,
socially very well versed, and they make friends very easily, but
mhm,
somewhere still find it a challenge to read and write. So
mhm,
what is going wrong with these children, and what are the challenges, and why are these teachers
mhm,
and parents finding and making like comments that, oh no, he knows everything or she knows everything, but
mhm,
he's just making excuses, he's just
mhm,
lazy or stupid or a silly kid,
mhm,
but
mhm,
trying to act out. So
mhm.
that kept me intriguing and pushing me to explore more and more about this area. So
Okay.
that's why I came into this industry of finding out the reasons
Mhm,
why kids with bright uh, achievement levels and
mhm,
the so smart kids still struggle to have some challenges here and there. So that brought me into this field of learning disabilities, and I registered for my PhD in the year 1993.
Okay.
And at that time, Kartikeya, you won't believe that there were not any research about LD or
Mhm.
dyslexia in India. Mine was the
Okay.
first PhD thesis in Delhi
Mhm.
University. So I do take that credit, but it was nice and it took me 5 years to complete that project. It
Mhm.
was a great feeling at that time. And I still am proud of myself that I did it.
First of all, I want to congratulate you that you
Thank
were
you.
the first person to go ahead and do a thesis in the same, and it may
Yeah.
have helped so many other people who would be reading your thesis and learning from them.
Yeah, of course, it must be lying in some libraries. And this 93 to 98, I did that. And it's more
Mhm.
than 20 years, 22 years now, 23
Yeah.
years back, I'd finished it. And
Mhm.
it was really crazy. And I used to pull my hair when I didn't get the research review of literature. And
Mhm.
without the without the internet and all, it was really a challenge to go to National Medical Library and look for some international journals and research and collect my review of literature at that time.
Mhm. So, what did you equip yourself to become a special educator?
Long story, but I'll try to summarize it
Mhm.
in a brief description here. When as I mentioned that I started with NCERT and I started doing my PhD, and the basic thing in India that if I have to start experiencing and start using my skill sets and build my skill sets, I still had to do a regular BEd and get an entry into the school system to start working as a teacher. Or so I did my regular BEd and got into a school system here and there, but I was not getting satisfied.
Mhm.
A premier body of Rehabilitation Council of India, which is a premier body in India, which to work in the field of special education,
Mhm.
teacher training programs, conduct a lot of like governance institution for what should be the guidelines for special education in variety of areas in different areas,
Mhm.
was starting to get structured around that time.
Mhm.
So they had all the areas of special ed, but they did not include learning disabilities initially.
Mhm.
They had various courses offered through different organizations like NIMH and
Mhm.
some other universities, which were
Uh-huh.
equipping teachers in working with intellectually disabled children or visually
Mhm.
impaired children. So
Mhm.
I did one small course from that organization, which gave me a diploma for
Mhm.
working with children with intellectual challenges. So
Mhm.
I started working again, but there was still a gap in my skill set and what I was qualified for.
Uh-huh.
So that was the beginning. Then I got involved with Educare, which you are also familiar with Dr.
Yes,
Sunita
I am.
Sodhi's
Yes.
institution.
Yes.
And she was one pioneer lady who gave us on hands training to us teachers. To that was my first interaction, first actual training, hands-on
Mhm.
training to work with children with learning disabilities and dyslexia. So she was
Mhm.
like my professional godmother who told me, Anupma, this is the way to create a lesson plan, or this is the way
Mhm.
to create a phonics lesson or a reading lesson, and this is the scope and sequence. So
Mhm.
yeah, so that was my first experience of understanding the teaching process for children with LD. Then I moved to US in the year 2002 and started working on my reading certification programs.
Mhm.
And so since then, it's not looking back. I've been always in touch with this subject and have done a lot of certification programs in
Mhm.
reading literacy programs
Mhm.
and phonics programs and reading programs. And Kartikeya, you won't believe that right now also I'm enrolled in a refresher course for my structured literacy certification program and
Uh-huh.
educational therapist program
Uh-huh.
in one of the universities here. So this summer I'm trying to do that so that my skills are refreshed in this matter.
Mhm. And talking about Sodi ma'am, she was a great inspiration to a lot of
Oh,
people. So she
oh,
was a big
and
inspiration to me as well, right, in my
yes,
life. And the
yeah.
next thing is, could you share some light as to
Mhm.
how parents can know if their child needs some special attention?
That's a big question. And when you asked me this question, a picture of your mom comes to my mind. The way
Mhm.
she accepted it, that
Mhm.
there was some challenge. The first and foremost thing, Kartike, for us as parents,
Mhm.
and including myself into that, I have two
Mhm.
young kids and
Mhm.
young adults going to be. And so parents are the foremost people in child's life who
Mhm.
can identify or and get their antennas alert if there are some challenges what they can observe.
Mhm.
First of all, I think as the child is growing in the infancy or the toddler stage or a preschool
Mhm.
stage, if they see that the child is going a little slower or there are some developmental delays in walking or talking or some other challenges, they should not ignore that. They
Mhm.
have to approach the developmental pediatrician or their pediatrician to just overrule if something is wrong. And if they see some early warning signals and if they
Mhm.
consult a pediatrician or a developmental pediatrician, so they should uh, not ignore these things and try to go for a specialist for any referral, for any further assessments to a neurologist or a psychologist.
Mhm.
And if they see these things, first thing is to accept.
Mhm.
Unless the acceptance in the parents comes, we
Mhm.
cannot, as in professionals or service providers, we cannot help them.
Mhm.
So as the parents accept, more than half the battle is won.
Mhm.
That the child may have some challenges, and
Mhm.
earlier we identify,
Mhm.
earlier we accept, it's
Mhm.
better for the development of the children, so that they can get
Mhm.
early interventions and
Mhm.
early services, so that the problem does not become complex, and the children have to get the earliest possible services.
Mhm. Mhm. Okay, so the next thing that I want to ask you is what is
Hmm.
dyslexia and what advice would you give to parents whose children
Hmm.
are dyslexic?
Okay. Okay. So dyslexia is coming from Greek word, two Greek words. Dys means dysfunction and lexia means language. So in a nutshell, in a layman's language, dyslexia is a challenge, is a specific learning disability which has some neurobiological reasons. It is genetic and sometimes it runs in families. So basically, dyslexia is a part of specific one of the learning disabilities
Mhm.
affecting a person's a skill to do reading and spelling better. So
Mhm.
there are some very common uh, symptoms. Could be the children are having challenges with reading. They might be reading the mirror images or
Mhm.
reversals or
Mhm.
inversions, or they have a challenge with spellings or
Mhm.
language acquisition.
Mhm.
So expressive as well as receptive language. So
Mhm.
the other areas of learning disabilities are dysgraphia, where the children have challenges with writing part. They may be writing the letters in reverse orders or inverse order. The other area of challenge is math. In
Mhm.
technical terms, we call it dyscalculia, where children may have challenges in basic learning basic operations of math or
Mhm.
understanding complex abstract math concepts too.
Mhm.
And because of dyslexia, which is the language problem, they may have challenges in math also, because
Mhm.
if they cannot read the math problems, how will they resolve it? Even if they know how to do the operations, but the
Mhm.
language part of the math sums or
Mhm.
math language may make it challenging for them. So in a nutshell, learning disabilities have, besides having regular intelligence or the above
Mhm.
average intellectual capacity, some children still struggle
Mhm.
because of the weird wiring system of the brain.
Mhm.
They sometimes we can call them as disconnected kids, or we may have
Mhm.
to just reconnect the wiring,
Mhm.
brain wiring,
Mhm.
try to create new neural pathways to help our students to cope up with these challenges.
Uh, the next question is, could you share some techniques of assessment that you do with these children?
Yeah, Karthika, what happens is, first of all, the parents will be observing if they see some challenging
Mhm.
signs, early warning signs that the child is not in a position to tie his shoelaces, or
Mhm.
there are some delays in their walking, or
Mhm.
speaking, or listening, or they can't follow the instructions well. These
Mhm.
are the early signals what the parents can watch
Yes.
and look for. Then a pediatrician would be the first point of reference for parents to connect with
Mhm.
and get some developmental assessments done. And
Mhm.
still, that is the initial level of assessment they will do.
Mhm.
And if the child further needs a formal kind of an assessment, there are some neurodevelopmental professionals or psychiatrists or psychologists
Mhm.
who will run a battery of formal
Mhm.
testing, like some people use Wechsler's intelligence scales, and some it's a complete battery of psychoeducational
Mhm.
evaluations which these people run. And and for the from the teacher's perspective, when the kid is going to a preschool
Mhm.
or early elementary, lower elementary school, the teachers also, we have some informal checklists or screening devices or early warning signals, like
Mhm.
as a child who has late talking, pronunciation
Mhm.
problems in following the instructions, losing
Mhm.
things, inattentive in classroom, or
Mhm.
having some challenges with the social behavior. So those are the early warning signals we can share with teachers about some of the checklist and screening devices. And when they feel that the children are showing these behaviors consistently, they can
Mhm.
refer the children to the school counselor or a psychologist, which
Mhm.
in turn will do her own evaluation and refer for an outside help to a
Mhm.
psychologist or to a psychiatrist, depending on what they feel like. And they, outside professionals, will run a whole battery of testing to give a proper diagnosis.
Okay. That may have helped a lot of our viewers to understand about
Mhm.
dyslexia and the techniques. So the next question is that how has the pandemic affected your business?
Pandemic actually has impacted, in a way, it has come to as a positive thing for me.
Mhm.
I was working in a school environment
Mhm.
here in California. So,
Mhm.
what we moved, our school system shifted the gears to the online teaching. They created their online platform. So, I
Mhm.
started working with some children through Zoom. And but the only one small concern that I work with the younger children in lower elementary class,
Mhm.
grade 1 to 3, and it was difficult to handle to grasp their attention online. I could not work for more than for 15-20 minutes at a stretch, which I would
Mhm.
in a physical environment would work for half an hour, 40 minutes with them
Mhm.
in a day. So we also came up with a solution that maybe let's break these sessions in smaller 2-3 sessions.
Mhm.
So we, so instead of having a 40-minute session with them at a stretch,
Mhm.
I did 2 sessions in a day with them, one in the and we created a schedule for them. So privately, I am still working with a few students through
Mhm.
Zoom.
Mhm.
And Karthike, in my understanding, this whole pandemic thing will have a positive impact on providing our services through online platform. Of
Mhm.
course, our kind of work cannot be replaced by online. We still need to work with children in a physical setting on a face
Mhm.
to face to thing, but still, and whatever we are learning, I am not a very techno savvy person, but
Mhm.
it was a great experience for me, great time for me to learn these things and implement a
Mhm.
lot of good things from Google extensions. And so many programs have shifted their gears from physical
Mhm.
dealing and physical interactions to online, and we are still creating a lot of stuff which can be
Mhm.
used online. So
Mhm.
it worked out as balanced till the time if we cannot go in and work with children in
Mhm.
person. This
Mhm.
is an interim arrangement, but
Mhm.
as we come out of this pandemic, there will be a new blended or a hybrid approach of working, which will be a very good thing for, in my opinion. I am looking forward in another 6 months, 8 months time, or 1 year's time from
Mhm.
now, some
Mhm.
new developments, upcoming developments in the area of education, especially our industry.
Yeah. So the last question is that what advice would you give to upcoming special educators?
Oh, so my only advice, a couple of advice to upcoming special educators is that, but by mere doing a certification
Mhm.
course or some um, basic qualification, you have a master's in psychology or child development background, and then you
Mhm.
do a B.Ed degree with learning disabilities, or for that matter, for any other area of disability,
Mhm.
you you need to work with children and families before you can claim yourself as a special educator with experience.
Mhm.
It is a field which needs a lot of compassion. lot
Mhm,
of patience, and lot of energy
mhm,
to be which gets like utilized when we are working with children.
mhm,
And till date, I have spent in this industry for almost over 25, close to 30 years now, but still I'm
mhm,
not an expert in there. There's so much to learn.
mhm,
And sometimes I feel that some of the younger generation special ed teachers have, what do you say, like I still remember one of the dialogues from a very famous cricketer, Kapil Dev. And Kartike, I know that you are a big cricket fan.
Ah, yes, I am.
And yeah, so I remember an interview which I heard from Kapil Dev, that when
Yeah.
he's a fast bowler, and when
Mhm,
he used to bowl, that he said that we learned batting and bowling by just doing whatever physical hard work we could do. At that
mhm,
time, there were no coaches or techniques to be
mhm,
learned about what may work, or not that equipment also. He
mhm.
played cricket very long time back, so I can
True.
relate to him what
Yeah.
he says, that when I learned to deal with children with learning disabilities, there were hardly any tools in India or programs which could certify us. But newer, the people who are working right now and trying to get training in learning disabilities,
Mhm,
they have access to such good information and resources.
mhm,
But their energy should be, get these resources, get this
mhm,
knowledge, use it,
mhm,
experience it with the real life students, and
mhm,
then claim yourself to be an expert in that area. It
mhm,
is a good time to be in this industry, because of the reason that parents are accepting, more
mhm,
accepting now. Teachers are also in the regular schools are accepting that there are challenges. Humongous scope for the special educators in today's time. But the thing is that you have to compassionate, resilient, as well as practice what you are learning.
mhm. No, I think that was really sound advice from you. And thank you for taking out your valuable time and sharing this with our viewers. Thank you, viewers, for tuning in today. And don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell icon for our updates. And we look forward to having you in another episode of What the Article. Thank you. Bye bye.
Thank you, Kartike.
Bye bye. Thank you.